to Councillor Shackleton.
You'll do what you want.
I'm not sure if this is the right way, so I would like to say put an amount forward that we should give or consider giving. Which I know has to come up to finance. Are we correct with that?
Sorry?
Okay, so I'd like to put forward that Councillor Cockle, we have, or you have, should I say, could you tell me how much is the deficit that you are aware of so far?
Right, the overall cost, which includes the small element of contingency, is £30,000. I have two pledges of £5,000 each and another one from Councillor Swayze of £1,000. So at the moment I have firm commitments for £11,000. So at the moment I'm 19,000 short. If the Town Council agrees and match means that the borough, that will leave me to the maximum, that will be £9,000 short.
Well, I propose that we put the deficit that Councillor Cockle needs for this project to go forward.
Once again, can I just hold fire on that one until Councillor Anthony has spoken, please?
That was my amendment, that we specify an amount for the
Right.
Finance Committee to look for.
Right. Councillor Shackleton, seeing as you put your proposal for first, have you got a seconder for your proposal?
Well, no, I want to ask you what's already been said, Chair, before we move on.
Carry on then.
Right. As I've already said, there's nothing in the budget for this year. And I will make members aware now that it's come up, that the budget is looking to be £24,000 overspent already this year. So we need to be just careful about what we're saying. So I'll say it again, I think it should go to finance to sort the funding out and just see what we have.
Councillor Wright.
Can we just clarify this, please, Councillor? When you say this year, you mean this year?
18-19.
Right.
This year.
But you are now creating an amount in your figures to put forward for 1920.
Well, not at the moment, no. We'll do that later on
Yes,
in the year.
yes, that's where I'm coming
But
from.
this year's budget from
Yes.
April to April.
I think we would all understand that perfectly, that it wouldn't be available until after April next year.
That's right.
As long as we're clear. Now, I don't think any of us, Councillor Shackleton, are expecting it to come out at this time till April, that we budget for it for the April of 1920. And I think that's where they should be identifying from the Finance Committee what is the amount that they can put in. And that's where I said for pre-stretching.
I'd just like to add that in all my years as Chair of Finance, our budget has never gone over. This is the first year, and I seriously want it to live up to last year.
Okay. Councillor Holtenbank.
Since this is the first one on the agenda of asking for money, because there's other things on this agenda asking for money, if we're already in deficit, as Councillor Shackleton has just said, are going to be, of course,
Guesstimate at the moment.
that would then, if, you know, what we're going, right, I propose that we give 19,000 towards this cause. I don't know if anybody would like to second that.
Yeah, but I think what you need to say is you want 19,000 included in
Budget, thank you,
1920
Councillor
budget.
Shackleton. Thank you,
Yeah.
that's what I would like to say. Yes.
Have you got a seconder for that? Right. Proposal second. Have we an amendment to that?
Well, that is the amendment.
That is
Have we an amendment?
You can have an amendment to an amendment.
So we need a seconder for the proposal, don't we?
We do. Now we've already got one of those, Councillor Lee.
So now we've got the amendment.
Now we've got amendment. The amendment comes first.
It seems a bit weird in this
It
case.
does, I know it does, but it does come first.
Well, you vote for the amendment, if the amendment was
Yeah.
That's it, that becomes the proposal.
Okay. So all those in favour of the amendment?
Is that not us? That's the 19,000.
So this is the
I guess so.
19,000.
Yeah.
This is the 1920.
Yes, yes. That's from the budget. Won't be available until next May. All right, okay.
Right. Hey? Did you get it? Yeah, right.
Thank you.
There's 8 members voted for the amendment, so there's only one person left,
Abstain.
and he's abstained, so the actual amendment is carried. There's no other thing for it. Okay?
Mr Mayor, can I
Yes.
thank you and the town councillors for that? I'm gobsmacked, quite honestly.
I bet you are. No.
I came hoping to get 5,
Yeah.
and got the lot. Great. I mean, what I will do, like I said, I believe this will help Councillor Shackleton. I should report that back to the Borough Council and say, I still want your 5, which will then make a reduction in the town council.
That'd be absolutely
And I have other funding bids outstanding, whether or not I get anything I don't know, but anything that I do get, obviously I'll report back to the town council so that they can make the balance.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we're working together.
It's your first round.
Yeah. Double back.
Right.
Thank you.
Right, thank you for that, Councillor Cockle. We move on now to number 7 on the agenda, Town Clerk and RFO report. I will now hand over to the clerk.
I'm sorry, Chair, she's a really bad influence on me. You know I'm as quiet as a lamb.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, well, I hope you've all had a chance to read the report and ask any questions regarding it.
Are there any questions on the report? Councillor Meakin and Councillor Wilkie.
Well, it's not a question. Those dates that's been published, I have already put them into my phone diary.
Thank you.
Otherwise I'll forget.
Right. Councillor Wilkie.
Yeah, number 2, the action log. I'm sorry if I've missed something. What is the job application for?
All right.
Sorry?
What are you?
Well, I have missed it. I have missed something. I knew that, but I didn't realise it was.
I don't think it was imminent.
It's been, it was advertised at the beginning of this month with all applicants due to be in by Friday.
Well, that was unsure because I thought that's a long way away. Yes, we're not normally that organised.
The interview date on the 11th and 12th of December.
It did make it clear on there. Thank you.
Okay. Is there any more questions on the town clerk's report, please? No? Right, we'll move on then to number 8 on the agenda.
Sorry, just,
Carry on.
I've just got one point that wasn't available at the time, but regarding the additional dog wardens, we've had a number of communications with Harry Briggs from SPC, and currently the situation is that it will cost us £12,000 for a 12-month trial test, part-time, one person part-time, of which 4,000 of that it will be the cost of the vehicle and fuel costs of driving.
I couldn't get clarification from, sorry.
Go on, carry on,
Yeah,
Councillor Anthony.
David, sorry. I couldn't get clarification from Harry Briggs really about what they're doing is they've got 1.5 and they're losing half. They're losing half and then they're applying another full time. So I was trying to clarify whether we are still going to get some of that 1.5 as well as our part time.
Yes.
And we didn't seem to be on the wavelength, so I'm still trying to get clarification on that.
We are, yes.
Yeah.
So that's a situation that Harry's having difficulty understanding that we've already obviously contributed to a part of a dog warden.
Yeah.
Are we either getting some of that money back or taken off, or what in terms of the overall cost?
So the way forward really was now to get opinions of what people were feeling about that amount. I won't look at John.
Right. Thank you for that. At this point, I will move standing order 3E and adjourn the meeting to allow Councillor Cockrell to give us some information, please.
Yeah, I have actually been talking at the borough about dog wardens, and I was absolutely gobsmacked when I found out that one of the reasons why they haven't got such a high presence and picking up people who are not picking up is the fact that they spend the vast majority of the time trying to identify the owners of stray dogs and taking them back to their owners. So, could I suggest, Mr. Mayor, that if you want to get good value for money for filing from that, you do a job specification and that they spend the time in filing on the ground.
The clerk wishes to speak.
That is one of the points that Councillor Anthony and myself put to Harry, that we would want our job spec for our person to do what we wanted and when we wanted it to be done in filing.
Right, thank you for that. Councillor Mead.
David, regarding the job spec, do we know when he arrives and when he departs, or will we know?
We can specify that, Councillor Mead. We can say that we want them here at varying times, mornings, evenings, during the day, whichever we consider to be the most appropriate, what locations we consider to be the most appropriate, which will give us the most significant effect.
Okay.
Just to say,
Councillor Wright.
just say that he needs to check in here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
To let us know that he's here. Not 6 o'clock in the morning.
Well.
Or some other way of doing it electronically.
Let Marion know.
Yeah, that's my idea.
Councillor Wilkie, do you want to speak?
I was just going to ask about the furniture.
Yes. Furniture.
Yeah, well, in the report says that the tables have been done.
Polished, yes.
They've just been polished. I thought they were being...
They have been polished and been tightened up and
Yeah, the tables are.
I just wondered, just my answer is just the same as I was wondering what they'd actually done. I don't know what the remit was.
Yeah, you did exactly as we required. To do any more would have been a rebuild.
Right.
I didn't expect them to not be wobbling and creaking.
I think it's a 100-year-old table, you're going to struggle.
Councillor Meek and then Councillor Shackleton.
The same subject, they have been refurbished because one of them, I don't know if it's leather or what it is, the fabric on the top of the desk, it was all buckled and coming away. If you look for it, you can see they've done a very good job with it. Some of the tables.
Councillor Shackleton.
I do apologise, Chair, I didn't realise we were moving off dog yet. But there you go. My thoughts, totally unproductive. Absolutely unproductive, dog water community filer. There is not one person in this room that walks around filing more times a day than I do. And I have never, ever seen anybody not picking up. So what chances are warden of finding somebody that's just going to come in for a couple of hours a day?
It's not
They
going
haven't.
into a couple of hours.
There's no deterrent whatsoever. Most of the dog people that do pick up are done very early morning and late at night. People say it's visitors that come to file that don't pick up. That's untrue, because the situation is worse in winter than it is in summer when it's like this. That's my rant for today, Chair.
Right, thank you for that, Councillor Shackleton. Councillor Anthony.
Well, I don't walk around Filey very much, but I do see people and I do tell people who live it. And this is why we wanted somebody who would work early mornings. I mean, the state of West Road outside the infant school is absolutely appalling, and I don't see how we can ignore it any longer. We have to do something. As a council, we have to do something. And I'm all for anybody who's got a better idea. But the kids are treading it all over.
Absolutely, I agree with you entirely.
Councillor Anthony's, have you finished now?
I can say no more, Chair.
Thank you very much, Councillor Anthony. Councillor Shackleton.
Yeah, this council has done things to make dog walkers aware that they must pick up. Only, was it last year or the year before, we purchased the notices to go on various posts around Farley. They've not made much difference. Early mornings, Queen Street, one of the worst streets in Farley to live on for dog dirt. And Russ used to come and sit in his van very early morning, and he never caught one person not picking up down Queen Street.
Yes, I knew he was there.
Absolutely. You know, I'm like anybody, I don't have to want to walk through dog dirt, and it sickens me when I see somebody pushing a pushchair through it. But you know, until we get a number of people in court, heavily fined, this situation will not stop. And I don't think a dog warden's the answer, to be honest. I think it will be unproductive.
Councillor Anthony.
Well, that's not going to happen, Councillor Shackleton, because
Right, what?
people are they're not taking them to court anymore. It's on the spot fines. And we need to get a dog warden who knows where to go and how to keep out of sight and how to catch these people, not to sit in the van in full view as somebody walks past with a dog.
There's even been some in Memorial Gardens. Believe that.
Yes, well,
Exactly. Yes. I nearly got it myself, didn't I? Yes.
Yeah, I can take you to several places in Farley where it's a regular occurrence. And it's the same dog, because it's the same colour droppings, so it's eating the same food, and it's the same big dog.
That's what we're calling it.
So we've got Sherlock Holmes in on this. Councillor Anthony again. Come on, Councillor, now.
Well, can I just ask, are all councillors in agreement with Councillor Shackleton? Am I wasting my breath?
Every council has their view now.
Well, I'm asking, not that is.
Yes. Councillor Holden Banks.
I just think that if there was a dog warden, and as I've just been informed now by Councillor Anthony that it's on the spot fine, then surely the deterrent that might put some people off if they know they're going to get fined there and then. Is it on the spot?
Yes, they're employed by...
They do a fixed pension.
Yes, fixed pension.
Yeah. So if they can get fined, not going to court and getting, if they can watch their dog defecate and then they can fine them there and then for it, surely that must be, would make people want to not let the dogs do it as much. And if there is areas that people know they do it first thing in the morning, then those are the areas that the dog warden needs to be going into and finding them. And once a couple of fines have gone out, so I'm in agreement with Councillor Anthony. I think we need to do something because we are a holiday resort after all, as well as everybody lives and enjoys the beauty of it all. We need to take some responsibility, even if the dog owners don't themselves.
Yeah. That's the thing is, if the courts, the prosecutors, and it was putting on media and everywhere, so that it shows us that they are actually getting...
Even if they only trialled it for a year and thought, see if there was any effect of it. Did a year trial of it, see if there's any effect, see if it made any difference. If it didn't make any difference, then we walk away. If it did, we've tried. It's another thing we can say as a council. We are trying to work with everybody here, move forward and try and do something. And I appreciate what Councillor Shackleton is saying as well. I do understand his point of view. But, a deterrent sometimes, just going to court is not good enough, is it? People don't turn up to court, for goodness sake. But if they're going to get fined there and then, it might make a slight difference.
Councillor Wright.
Yeah, I just agree with Councillor Holden Banks. Try it for a year, give it a good shot, and if it makes no difference whatsoever, we've wasted everything up. I think it'd be detrimental not to try it. I think the word will get round, and it's by word that people will say, hey, do you know, so. I do see lots of people picking up, but on the same vein, there must be others that are not picking up. But if you have somebody at random times, they don't know where they're coming. So I think we should give it a trial at least.
Councillor Shackleton.
Yeah. If members do agree to this, are we looking at zero tolerance with dog walkers? As in, zero tolerance for not picking up, zero tolerance for having your dog off a lead when it shouldn't be off a lead? Or are we just looking at dog droppings?
It is a dog, through you, Chair.
Because
It
you
is
can
a
walk
dog.
through Crescent Gardens on a daily basis and dogs are running loose. Glen Gardens are running loose and also along the seafront. So, you know, are we having zero tolerance for that also?
Overall.
No, because you can't do one thing for one person.
Yeah, through you, Chair, that would be for us to decide, and I believe that, yeah.
Sorry, I know you want to wrap this up, but just on what Councillor Shackleton's saying, is that where the dogs are off the lead, there is signs saying do not let your dogs off the lead. So therefore they're letting their dogs off, knowing the breaking whatever law there is on the Crescent or in Memorial Garden, so therefore they should be fined for having the dog off the lead, off a dog's lead, because it says clearly do not do this. So it has to be, you know, a straight thing in my opinion, but that's obviously up for discussion for the rest of the council.
Councillor Wilkie and then Councillor Shackleton.
It's just a zero tolerance thing, and then we're going to open another can of worms, particularly with visitors that bring the dogs. They're going to be saying, don't go to Filey, it's not dog friendly. So where do you stop?
Councillor Anthony.
Well, it's Councillor Wilkie. I was just to say, do we want people bringing the dogs who leave the dog muck all over our pavements? We don't.
No, we don't.
Right, Councillor Wilkie this time.
Right. I'm out of the town most of the time, so it's only weekends when I sleep. So if this is such a massive problem, what one person, by the time we're going to get them, is not going to make much effect. I'm not sure whether, I'm undecided on it. You know, we need to do something. I totally agree with that. People do come, they do flout the signs, they do flout the laws, because there is no deterrent, no real deterrent. Yes, there's on-the-spot fines to get that, which could be a deterrent. I don't know about that, whether it will be or not. But you see it in everyday life, parking, people challenging authority, and people, members of the public, the ones, not the majority that pick up and do it properly, but the few that just blatantly don't care, and they don't care about anything, and they flout authority. So if it's only a few minor people, is it such a massive problem that we think it is? It obviously is, because it's all over the place. So it can't be in 4 different places at once, and I think that's the problem. You probably need to make a real effect. I'm not saying we shouldn't do anything, but to make a real effect, you might need 4 dog wardens in the town, wouldn't you? So I mean, that's not going to happen, is it? So I'm a bit undecided on it at the minute.
Can I propose we put this on the next agenda?
Yeah.
Because we've all had our say on it, and there might be a little bit more news on this from the clerk on this, so we can make a decision then at the next agenda. Okay, is everybody in favour of that? Thank you. Seconded by Councillor Meek. And everybody in favour of that?
You are aware that that's the Christmas.
I am aware of that. Don't worry about that. Don't worry about that. Okay. Can we move on now? Have you finished, Mr. Clark? Thank you. Right, we'll go on to Councillor to number 8 on the minutes. Minutes of the ordinary meeting held on Wednesday, 10th of October 2018. You've all had a chance to read the minutes. Please could I have a proposer and a second to approve them?
Can I just say something first?
Yes.
I appear to have changed my initial to an R instead of J, and the reason I wasn't at the last meeting was a family commitment. Not
Right. Okay, that will be entered and your initial will be changed on that one. Okay. So, according to that, are we all in favour of those minutes, please? Thank you. We'll go on now to number 9 on the agenda. Council committee minutes and reports from local organisation meetings. A. Councillor to receive a summary by the chair of the meetings below to note the minutes. Okay, and I hope you have read had a chance to read the minutes of that meeting. It's Town Guide, Map and Guide, and Finance and General Purposes Committee. Them was the only two that we had last between the two full council meetings. Is there any comments by the chairs of those two meetings? The Map and Guide first.
I wrote to that one, Councillor Yelvin over here. I mean, it looks okay to me.
Right.
I wasn't there.
Okay.
Oh.
Right. Marilyn. Okay, you put that forward?
Yeah.
Yes. Finance and General Purposes Committee.
I'll second this.
Right, that's fine.
As minutes, Chair, I'm happy to answer any questions.
Right. Okay, have we got a proposal for that and a seconder for that? I was there, so I propose that. Councillor Shackleton or Councillor Meek, that's seconded. All those in favour of those two in block? Everybody. Okay. Right. B. Property Committee meeting. Wish to bring to the attention of the meeting the current situation regarding Queen Street Gardens. May I call upon Councillor Anthony to give some background as to this request?
The reason it's referred back to council, is that there were only 3 of us that attended the property meeting, and we felt that it's a big decision to make and not something that we could take with only 3 going forward. So, have you all read what's actually on the... Yeah. Is there any questions anybody like to...
Have we any questions for Councillor Anthony?
Basically, we're looking at where we go from here, whether we actually rescind the decision we made last time. Looking at the amount of money we're going to have to spend, and you can tell here, just to undertake a survey to see what the next step would be, it's going to cost us in excess of £6,000. And that's just for a survey to say what can be done. We've already spent £15,000 on it. I just really would like to know what members think. We did also talk about arranging a public consultation event to make sure that we have public support in whatever is decided.
And there's also one, proceed with evaluation of the land in a step towards possible, and I underline possible, sale of the garden.
That we would need to rescind.
And before we can go into any of those, if we're thinking about that step, we have to rescind that minute from 9th of May, full council meeting, item number 079/18. So, if we're thinking about going down any of those 3 lines, we must rescind that minute first. Councillor Wilkie.
I haven't had time to look back at that minute, it would be useful to get a
Do
review.
you want me to read it out?
Yeah, please, if you've got it now. I thought you would have.
Queen Street Garden, following a request from the members of the Property Committee that the full council should discuss options for the future of this site, the clerk has prepared a document setting out the 4 possible options, being number 1, sale of the site, 2, sale of part of the site, 3, retain and do not open to the public, or 4, retain and open to the public. Following discussion, Councillor Bosom was proposed and seconded by Councillor Casey that the Town Council should proceed on the basis of option 4, retain and open to the public.
That was the minute.
And is it open to the public?
No,
and
not likely to be until, through your chair, until considerable work has been done.
It's all against health and safety at the moment, Kevin. It's all been closed down. Councillor Mead.
No.
If you go along the lines of completely reopen it to the public, you will finish up with no garden whatsoever, due to the fact you'd have to put, well, got no disrespect to anybody with any disabilities before I say anything, that it would have to be a slope, and the slope can only be at 17%, and it's got to be wide enough, and you just finish up with a slope and no garden. And for the amount of money it's going to cost, in my mind, I've got 6 figures, and I don't think it's worth it. As I proposed without a seconder, we should sell it. You're going to spend, at the moment you spend 21,000, is it, at the moment?
Well,
That
Brilliant,
near
I'll
enough.
offer it down to 15.
Well, 15. You spent 15 already. You say, 6 figures, can we afford it? I won't go into that. That's up for debate later. And we'll just say you get 25,000 for it. You've lost all your responsibility for it. To me, it's going to cost far too much to put back as it was.
Right, thank you for that, Councillor Mead. Councillor Wilkie.
Can I come back then? So I was saying that the work that's been done so far hasn't rectified all the problems, and that if we were to open to the public, we would be obliged to put ramps down as an obligation, a legal obligation.
Yes, through you, Chair.
Sorry, I'm not
Yeah,
fully
but
there.
in order to, it needs an additional wall to stop the slippage, so that would be in the region of 30 to 40,000. That's without doing any of the other work.
Yeah.
So that is just the basic.
That's on top of, sorry, that's on top of the survey.
Yeah.
So you're talking 40 then.
It said the cost of completing the full resolution has not been fully made available. The indication is that the cost of full accessibility would be between 150,000 and 300,000.
Altogether. Councillor Holdenbank. Sorry,
Are you, sorry,
Councillor Shackleton.
have you been waiting?
Got your name down, yeah.
Since I walked through the door. Yeah, it would appear that the main problem with Queen Street Gardens has been resolved. For members that aren't aware, the main water was water seepage into the ground, possibly causing a landslip. We've spent various amounts of money over the past. I think the figure of 14,000 is a little bit light, because at the beginning we did pay a consultant to come in and try and tell us what we needed doing, and that didn't work very well. And then I think we paid a little bit more to Borough for exploratory work and to Pete Gibson. I don't know whether that's all included in that final figure, so it has actually cost us more than 14. But I've always said that it is an asset, is Queen Street Gardens, and once that asset is sold, it's gone. Yes, you're left with a little pot of money, but the actual asset is gone. So it's going to be a big decision to sell that piece of land, and no doubt it will upset a lot of people in Farley if we do sell it, because that is a wonderful view, and for a developer to come along and pop a building on there, it would be criminal, and I think we'd get one bastard right out of the chamber, to be honest.
Okay, thank you for that, Councillor Holdenbank.
Well, Councillor Shackleton's, the latter end of his conversation was just basically what I was going to say, is that I think as a council we should keep it, we should not have it open to the public, we should maintain it, we should keep the view, we should not sell the land because somebody will buy on it and put something on their houses and flats. There is walkways to the right of it anyway, so you can get down and you can sit at the quiet where the old fishermen used to sit, and you have a beautiful view. I'm not too sure who maintains it now. But it hadn't been eligible to walk down for at least a decade. So
It's the actual garden.
yeah, the actual garden. So I think a lot of people that are new to Farley wouldn't be aware that it was available to be used anyway. But if we keep it in our portfolio, we have it if we ever need anything in the future. I don't think we should sell it, but I don't think that we should spend money on doing anything else with it either, apart from keeping it upkeep of it.
Absolutely, I agree 100%.
Right, it's Councillor Wilkie first, then Councillor Shackleton, then Councillor Anthony.
Well, mine was short because that was exactly, I said, why haven't we got an option to keep it and keep it closed and just
We have,
maintain it? So that,
number 3. Oh, sorry, I'm looking at the wrong page.
That was the old minute, wasn't it?
proceed with the valuation under the full service, or arrange public consultation, there's nothing there, there's an option to keep it open and keep it closed, but keep it.
Yeah.
So that would be my preferred. I'm
Yeah.
exactly the same. I don't think we should sell it, but I don't think we should spend a load of money on it either. So that would be my option if it's
Can I just bring the clerk in at this point and then
Just to give a flavour of what
information?
that will require us to do. From my understanding from the surveyor, they would need to do a survey, and that really is to establish whether the work or what effect the work that we've done has actually achieved. Because at this moment in time they don't really know what it's achieved, and the work that we did was fundamentally to get rid of the water. What wasn't done at the time was to establish the subterranean makeup of the soil, etc. that's there, and therefore what it would be required to prevent it from potentially from slipping down the slope. So the outline of making it safe would be around about the 30 to 40,000 pounds worth of cost. And on top of that, we probably need to add some contingency for new railings, etc., to prevent access to it. Because we couldn't really, we must be making sure that it's not accessible to the public. Because it wouldn't be safe.
Councillor Wilkie,
So why haven't we put some railings up now? Why have we got all this time?
We've got railings up there at the moment, but they're just not permanent.
So we're saying that the money that you're proposing, let's say 30 to 40,000, would be just to make it safe and keep it closed.
Yes.
Yeah. Yes, that's a lot of money, isn't it?
So how have we gone ahead
Yeah.
with doing some work, not knowing that would fix the problem? I don't get that.
Yeah.
Councillor Shackleton.
I've been in on this problem for many years, and it's been an ongoing thing. I mean, been clerk after clerk after clerk after clerk trying to solve this problem. But as I said earlier, Kevin, the main problem was water seepage, and so we had all this work done, hoping that we could control that water seepage.
But we never knew whether it was
And stop it.
possible.
No, it was the best option we had at the time to go ahead with this work. Obviously, we had to stop that water.
Totally agree. Right, I'm just flabbergasted, sorry, through you, I'm just flabbergasted at the amount of money that it's going to cost to just to leave it shut. So, you know, all these years it could have been slipping away. And
it was.
Well, I know it was, but I mean, since that work's done,
I believe Phil Gibson did some works below that wall, and he found what I suppose you could call liquid soil underneath, down to a depth of just over a metre, I believe.
It's all built up soil underneath that turf and that walk path and all that. It's all like footings that's been dug out and put in there from the houses that's been built near hand and that. You can tell that when it was actually, the holes were bored and it was pulled out.
I believe the Borough Council is still monitoring that.
I think they are actually.
When did they do the last monitoring of it?
I haven't seen any results recently.
So we don't know whether they've been in the last 12 months then?
No.
Well, you know, we set them on to do this. We paid good money for this, so I think we need some results from them.
Yeah. Can we go down that line and asking if they're still monitoring this? Find out that. Yeah. The other thing is the actual footpath where all the seats are above there, it's piled halfway across there, right, with deep trench piles, closed pile base, and that has actually stopped the water coming through them, because with them being closed piles, they're all locked together, like when they pile them. But from halfway along, and this is where the problem lies, is from there. Now, we didn't know whether it was coming from Yorkshire Water, we didn't know whether it was coming for drainage, we didn't know whether it was coming from the roof, rain coming down on the roof. We didn't know at all where it was coming. First of all, we even thought it was a tap that had been left on.
Nobody's going to claim responsibility.
No, even Yorkshire Water walked away from it.
I believe we asked council to look into their drainage system.
Yeah. So you're more in the picture now on how it's got to this stage. Okay, let me see. Councillor Anthony first, and then Councillor Holden-Banks.
We're assuming that the council would have to pay this money. I mean, the thing that we haven't talked about is the heritage funding available, which is something that we were thinking about, looking at that.
Well, I believe that
Well,
we
I
have
was just
some cliff money, though. Oh, sorry.
Just got me back, haven't you?
Why don't we apply to the borough for some of that funding that they've received millions for?
You can apply.
Spend it elsewhere, so,
There's nothing stopping anybody applying for things like that. Whether you get it or not is two different things. But if you don't apply, you don't get. Simple as that.
I should imagine borough's got money sat in the bank for cliff erosion.
Might go
We
down
call
that.
this cliff erosion.
Councillor Holden-Banks.
I was just going to agree with Councillor Anthony that there is grants that we can apply for, there's different routes that we can look at, and also in agreement with Councillor Wilkie is that I still don't understand how, well, I know you've all explained it to me, but if we were to sell that piece of land, they would have the same issues the people that bought it, and so yes, for next to nothing because of the issues that come with it. But, I don't know how many different areas that we've looked into getting this valuation or this 6,000 or how far afield we've gone or, put out bids or whatever you would like to call it for people to come and give us some prices for it. I mean, it might be worthwhile to see how much it is worth. Not to sell it, just so that we would know as a council what we've got. I still go forward with, I would like to propose that we don't sell it and we have a discussion about what we do next, but do not sell it. To be put forward, please.
Well, before you start proposing, you've got to rescind that minute.
Oh, well, I rescind it then.
Simple as that.
Perhaps this is an agenda item for a special meeting, Chair.
It is, really. It's big, it isn't a small thing.
A special meeting. This one item.
Now, I'll put it to the council now. Would you like me to call a special meeting on this, or not?
Well,
I'll just put it on the
I
agenda.
think it needs some,
I'll propose a special meeting for it, Chair.
I'll second.
Right, I will call a special meeting then. But before we do anything else, at this point, I move Standing Order 3E and adjourn the meeting to allow Councillor Cockrell to give us some more comments on it.
Not comments, Chairman, information.
Information.
The gardens have been in the ownership of the town council since I think it was 1988. I think I was the only one here besides Maureen who was there at the time. And the reason why the town council bought it was because, in a way, it's like it is now. Overgrown, unkempt, and it was a disgrace. And the suggestion was put to the council to buy it and to get it tidied up and make it something that families could be proud of. Regarding some of the comments that have been made, Scarborough Borough Council does get money for various projects from the Environment Agency, but they are project specific. We don't get the money up front, we call it down as it's spent, so it isn't earning interest or anything. The Environment Agency has a formula by which it decides the amount of grant, and the main thing that gets that is the number of properties at risk. So I would suggest there's very little chance of getting any year money.
Right, thank you for that, Councillor Cockrell. I will now end the adjournment and only members of the council may speak. So we'll call a special meeting on this then. You've all voted on it, Councillor Meek.
One thing I'd like to say as well is that there is only this one item on the special meeting, where in the past there have been items added.
There will be no items added to this meeting. This meeting, a special meeting, will be for this and this alone. Do you got that? Thank you. Councillor Castleton.
Yeah, I see nothing to stop Councillor Marilyn Anthony's proposal to rescind this minute.
No, I don't see any reason for that at this moment.
Do it today.
Yeah. If you want to move that, Councillor Anthony,
Yes.
somebody second it for you.
Yes, they'll have to be rescinded.
To rescind that minute that I read out before, it's number 079/18.
Yeah.
Okay, and we can do this because it's 6 months gone.
Yeah.
Okay, all those in favour of that? Okay. All right, Councillor Anthony on that one?
Yes, thank you.
Right, thank you. C. Council to receive reports from members of meetings, local and local organisations. Could councillors please indicate who wishes to speak and the organisation covered? Councillor Holden Banks.
I would like to speak about Bali Tourism Association and Chamber of Trade, and I'm sorry I haven't put a written one in, but the meeting was on Thursday. So basically,
Can I just jump in here and say, please do not mention any names, because it's GDPR.
well, can't I even mention names of things that are in the public domain?
Unless you have had permission from those to do it in writing,
So I've got something
because
on the
it comes
internet and I
under
can't
the
read it out.
GDPR. I'm sorry, but it does. I've had advice.
It's a bit too far.
Yeah, I was able to say something.
Right, Councillor Holden Banks.
Yes.
The clerk has just come in, it's told me it's only individuals that you can't speak that say the names. Not
If it's an activity or an event, then you can speak.
Well,
which
when
is
I
right.
come to it, I'll ask you if I can speak about it then, because I'm a bit confused. at the
No,
moment.
it's very confusing, it really is.
Well, after all that, it's not that interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, I am. So, Bali Tourism Association and Chamber of Trade had a joint meeting together. This was with a view to the two groups amalgamating together. We're having not a private meeting at all, we're having two people out of each group is going to come together on the 21st to try and get a package together that both the groups will be happy with. So that's as far as we're going with that. The majority of the time spent was discussing about this Yorkshire Coast bid. I don't know if you've all heard of this, it was on the news. So this was discussed at great length. A lady, can I say the lady's name that came to talk about it?
Yes, you can, because she's already spoken about it.
Kerry Catherwood came with James Hodge with some...
Yes.
Somebody else.
Yeah, with somebody else to present this to the businesses of Filey. It was a very robust meeting. It was very highly charged. You had to be over 12,000 a year to be able to have a bid. So it affects. See, I find it's really difficult not being able to say people's names. I need to say things like, Ralph Dixon, Corrigan, well, they've got all the big businesses. If they pay over 12,000 a year, they will be able to bid on this. Anybody under 12,000, business rates can't bid on it. The upshot of it all is it goes right along the coast, and if the majority bid for it, you're in it whether you want to be in it or not. I asked quite a few questions because this Mr. Aswad, who is the consultation person for these, has several of these bids going up and down the coast and in Harrogate and on the west coast. My concern was about the money making. I will happily show you all this because you can all view for yourself. But there is a bid board here, which you have your chair. You've got two from Whitby, 2 from Scarborough, 1 from Filey. one from Hornsey, one from Withersea, two from Bridlington and one from coastal villages. And then that's your 10 independent business representatives, and you've got 3 national business representatives, and then you've got Scarborough Borough Council, East Riding of Yorkshire Council, North Yorkshire Council, North Yorkshire Moors and the police. But you can all have a good look at this with pleasure. I actually brought up quite a few questions about this, because when you start looking at the Yorkshire Coast bid forecast, it says here, bid employees including office and support, they want 113,000 a year to be able to afford to run it. So, therefore, I was very much a pain to this woman who came to present it, asking all these questions, because then I downloaded off the internet the Yorkshire Coast Business Improvement District, which is the bid. The bid project manager full-time is 35,000. The bid project administrator is 20,000. That gives you 55,000, still 60,000 in the ESOP somewhere. But now look at the bottom of all this, and who is advertising all this out but Mr. Mo Aswath, the Mosaic Partnership, who runs the groups. So it caused an awful lot of issues. I've also asked a lot of these questions because there was a lot of people had sent a lot of emails regarding this Mosaic Partnership. Kerry, the lady who did the presentation, represented the Mosaic Partnership consultancy involved in setting up the Yorkshire Coast bid, told the committee that firms in the retail, leisure, accommodation or food and drink sectors with rateable over 12,000 or more would automatically be subject to the levy. I have the levy percentages here if anybody wants to look at them. So a firm with a rateable value of 12,000 or more would pay 1.5 of that value, which is £180 a year for 5 years, alongside the business rates that, that's already set. These are from Redcar and everywhere else that I've been in them. This is for a 5-year period, and it can be voted to opt in or opt out again. The main concerns from a lot of the people who were at these groups were that if you get somebody that's at 15,000 a year, so if you have 12,000 rateable, your annual levy is £180 a year. If you pay 20, it's 300, 30, it's 450. And 50,000 would be 750. So if you've got a rateable value of 50,000, 750 isn't an amount to each, but for a small independent business at 180 on top of what they're already paying, whether they want to be in it or not, they are bumped into it. The biggest concerns across the board seem to be your 20,000 a year to spend in Filey, but you couldn't totally spend it in Filey because you had to go to this board that I showed you at the beginning and present what you wanted to spend your money on in your area. So that wasn't all what it seemed to be on the first presentation that was done. I come under it, so I don't have this concern. Personally, I don't particularly think it's a very good idea. I don't think you've got a lot of control over what happens, even though it was very well presented. But once you signed up to this is you signed up for 5 years, and you don't actually you do have a say where your money goes. But if somebody from Whitby wants to spend more of their money in Whitby than you do in Filey, you have to put your bid forward and work for it. You don't automatically get your money. And you tell me what we're going to do with 20,000. And the other thing, which I found to be quite insulting, and I spoke very highly for Filey Council on this, I'd like you all to know, in a very protective mode of what they said that they would do for Filey, which I think we already do at a huge level with independent groups and the council itself, is that the bid will work with businesses to brighten access points in Filey, ensure that bid businesses are aware of how to access up-to-date information about up-and-coming events in Filey, work with partners to create outdoor itineraries and embrace its natural surroundings, work with the community to develop a new or support an existing event key to the area. Like Return of the Dragon, I can't even think of one off my head. Improve visitor information at key access points in Filey railway station and promote Filey's heritage. Well, I feel we're already achieving that at a very good level. Some of you are the ones who put better bids than that we've put in. But anyway, that's basically what that's all about. So it ends the end of this month, the bids will be in and we'll be notified. I do know that Whitby Council have voted against taking this on. We don't have a bid as a council because we don't actually have any business that Whitby's got the art they have to say on. Tesco's would have to pay some money into this. I did ask about Primrose Valley, and the lady said off the top of her head she thinks that they would put into it possibly about £1,500 to £2,000 a year. Well, you look at how big Primrose Valley is, Blue Dolphin, anywhere else that you like, it's not an awful lot of money for them to put in. But please take this, have a look at it. It's quite, I mean, Whitby's getting 352,500, Scarborough's getting 1 million. Well, they're not getting it, it's what their revenue of their own businesses are putting into it that addresses this money. Farley Fund is 1,170, so I think the idea that there's 5 million being spent up and down the coast is a bit of a wrong attitude towards it. It's your own money you're spending because it's your own tax that you're paying back into it. You know, they're not giving us 5 million. We are paying someone to manage this for us. But, you know, some people think it's a wonderful idea. I hope I'm proven wrong and I hope it's a success. So that was a big discussion point. The other discussion point was James Hodgson, can I say that? I've said it now. Inform members that the White Lodge Hotel will be hosting a presentation regarding the alleged findings of Bonham Richard by the company involved Merlin Burrows on the 7th of the 12th, 2018. There's a group there, I think possibly Councillor Anthony knows a bit more about that than I do. That's all I know about that Bonham Richard. You sent me some information, didn't you? But there's going to be a big talk about that, and they want particular groups to get involved, and I'm sure they want council to get involved at some stage or other. So besides all of that, the last bit I'd like to say is that I attended Scarborough Borough Council a week last Monday when some walked out to support a councillor on their return to the council, and I found this to be quite an amazing area to be in, having not been before. Hence, that's the end of my report. So anybody got any questions?
Right, thank you very much.
Have
for
I
that.
exhausted you all?
Right, thank you very much for that. Councillor Shackleton.
Yes, I have a report, Chair.
Anthony, sorry.
Sorry, can I just respond?
Sorry.
Sorry?
I'm sorry,
I didn't say anything.
You want to say anything, Councillor?
No, thank you.
Right, Councillor Shackleton.
Chair, sorry, Chair. I just want to respond to those reports, if I can.
Pardon?
I just want to respond to those reports.
All right, no, that's fine. Okay, Councillor Wilkie.
You answered most of my questions and about Whitby, voting, etc. But I'm just wondering if it gets voted as a yes, we don't have a choice in that.
No.
The businesses in this
No.
town don't have a choice
No.
in that. Is that right?
That's correct. If it gets voted yes by Scarborough and Hornsey and finally votes no, the majority of the highest paying band, if there's more than 50% vote for it, it will go through. So if the majority of Scarborough businesses vote for it and the majority of Finey don't, but the top bracket, then they will go through and you'll get it. Because it's such a huge coastline. It's Redcar, Hornsey, Bridlington, it's humongous.
So the money that we pay, we might not see, but we might see.
You're supposed to get 20 or 25.
There's some sort of guarantee, is there?
Yes. But you have to go and bid. I'll put your point of view, how you would like it spent.
Yeah.
I'm not saying anybody from the other areas would disagree with you. They probably won't care what Whitby's doing to what Hornsey's doing, but you still have to make it a...
Something just doesn't seem right about it.
Well, Mr.
Can't
Mozart
put my
has
finger
got
on
loads
it
of
quite, but...
Oh, it might be wonderful, I say. I hope I'm wrong. I mean, this company, Mr. Mo Aswad's company who's done all this.
Take the money out of the...
No, he gets paid a consultancy fee.
Sorry?
He gets paid he's a consultant, this Mr. Mo Aswad, he gets paid a consultancy fee. And in his consultancy fee, he's presenting this, so he wants, what I've just quoted you here, for what they're paying for the administration, is coming out of the money that the companies, or the businesses are paying in, the percentage, to pay for them to manage all the activities or whatever it is that each area feels that they need to bid on.
It's called good work if you can get it.
It seems quite right, yeah. It won't be something
But have a look at it. I mean, that's just my take on it. I mean, there's people you can talk to on here and ring further, but I mean, at the end of the day, it's
Sorry, through you, Chair. I think the problem is that we're
Janet
not getting
Deacon
a
is
say in
part of
it.
council.
We're not getting a real say in it.
No.
It's not a real say, no. You get a say.
Well, we don't know whether it goes ahead or not.
But the team bid is this Mo Aswad at the bottom here, and Kerry Grimston, or how you pronounce her surname, is the bid project manager. She came and did the actual presentation, and Emily Stevens. So these two have got the monies that I can account for, so And then the stakeholders are Janet Deacon, Scarborough Borough Council, Andy Gray, East Riding Yorkshire, Mark Kibblesthwaite, North Yorkshire County Council, and Richard Gunn, North Yorkshire Moors. And then you've got your task groups. But I don't know who's put these people in place. They were already in place when the bid came through.